his promise. He said, I'll never leave you. Though the waters are raging, oh, they'll do you no harm. Don't you give up the battle, for your answer.
Bless the Lord, everybody. This is Sister Terrian Douglas, and you are listening to the Fountain of Joy Ministry with Brother Victor.
You've been in the storm. It seems like forever. Your night of confusion has been oh so long. Your ship has lost anchor. Your storms got you drifting. But hold on to Jesus, hallelujah, and ride out your storm. Ride out your storm. God is right there with you. You may not feel him, but you're not alone. You're hurting now, but your morning is coming. Just hold on to Jesus, Brother Victor, and ride out your storm.
Ride out your storm. God bless you, Brother Victor. Just continue to ride out your storm in the name of Jesus.
Remember his promise. He said, I'll never leave you. Though the waters are raging, oh, they'll do you no harm. Don't you give up the battle, for your answer is coming, Brother Victor. Just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Ride out your storm. God is right there with you. You may not feel him, but you're not alone. You may be hurting now, but your morning is coming. Your morning is coming. Just hold on to Jesus, Brother Victor, and ride out your storm. Just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Don't you give up now. Hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm.
Because whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man on the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God. Now, from this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested in brotherhood within his own race, because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must in some sense be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal, because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. But we believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God of Father, God of Son, God of Holy Ghost, the one God of all ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise the cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is a man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall, because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use, they have not the resources to develop nor the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing under fair circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Now Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa is walking around not only on her feet, but on her brains. You can enslave, as was done for 300 years, the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. You can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Dive down, black men, and dig. Reach up, black men and women, and pull all nature's knowledge to you. Turn ye around and make a conquest of everything, north and south, east and west. And then when you have wrought well, you will have merited God's blessing. You will have become God's chosen people, and naturally you will become leaders of the world. And as you bow down to the white man today, so will other races bow down to you and call you a race of masters because of the superiority of your mind and your achievements. Because no race has the last word on culture and on civilization. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, battleships, aeroplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business. So give us credit for being able to use our minds. And with people becoming conscious of themselves, determined to use their minds, you do not know to what extent they can go. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. We love the white race, not for social fellowship, but for the common brotherhood of God intended we should live. What satisfaction can anyone get in being happy and see his brother wallowing in filth, dirt, and disease? How can you be happy living in luxury and your brother's living in disease? And then when you try to help the one out of the disease, the subtle culprit talks about disloyalty. Black men of Carthage, black men of Ethiopia, of Timbuktu, of Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt. Because classes, nations, races have been quite quiet for over 4 centuries, who has merely borne abuse, insult, humiliation, whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job, has likewise lifted his bowed head and raised it up to God's skies and cried out, I am a man, and demand a man's chance and a man's treatment in this world. That I shall teach the black man, to see beauty in his own kind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's not. Back in the days of slavery, race mixture, miscegenation had occurred because the African woman had no protection from the slave master. Therefore, there is no need today for black people to themselves freely continue a practice that smacks so much of slavery. Our critics say that the race problem will be solved through higher education, through better education, and black and white will come together. That day will never happen until Africa is redeemed. Because if those who like W.E.B. Du Bois believe that the race problem will be solved in America through higher education, they will walk between now and eternity and never see the problem solved. God made man Lord of his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world. And you have been so darned lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to apologize to anybody for being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. If black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. Yes, you heard of Johnny Walker Red and black. Well, he had his adversities, but he's still going strong. Well, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue, because my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. When my enemies are satisfied, in life I shall come back, or in death even to serve you as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foes of Africa. Then count on me to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a plague or a pestilence or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. Will I not go to hell 1,000,000 times for you? If I die in Atlanta, my work will only just then begin. For I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to lead the millions of the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there is a storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars, having passed through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards. You race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have better die. Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it. We have prayed to God for vision and for leadership. And He has given us a universal vision. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to America. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to the West Indies, but a vision that said there must be a free and redeemed Africa. Christ the crucified, Christ the despised. We appeal to you for help, for succor, for leadership. When you endeavor to carry your burden up the heights of Calvary, when white men scorned you, when white men scorned you, when white men spat upon you, when white men pierced your side out of which blood and water burst forth. It was a black man in the name of Simon the Syrian who took your cross and bore it up the heights of Calvary. And now that we are bearing our burden, it being so heavy, we just ask that you just help us on up the heights. Oh, yes, the cause is grand, the cause is glory. Surely we shall not turn back. Oh, sail on, sail on, sail on, oh mighty ship of state, sail on until the flag of the red, the black, and the green is perched upon the hills of Africa. Because the time has come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Crispus Attucks and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race. Toussaint Louverture's brilliancy as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people. Hence he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Because Africa's created millions and countless millions of black men and women in war and peace, whose luster and bravery outshone that of any other people. So why not see good and perfection in ourselves? We must inspire our literature and promulgate the doctrine of our own without any apologies to the powers that be. That right is ours and God. Let sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinion and are not obligated to or bound by the opinions of others. If others laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. Because they have no more right to dishonor, discredit you in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you. Disrespect and disregard them when they vilely treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of obscurity as we have. Their history is as rude in its primitiveness as ours. Their ancestors were running wild in living in trees of branches like monkeys as ours. They made human sacrifices, ate the flesh of their own dead and wild meat from beasts for centuries, even as they have accused us of doing. Their cannibalism is more prolonged than ours. When we were embracing the banks of the Nile, they were still drinking blood out of the skulls of their conquered dead. After our civilization had reached the noonday of progress, they were still living in holes with bats, rats, and other insects and animals. After we had already unfathomed the mystery of the stars and reduced the heavenly constellation to minute and regular calculus, there were still backwoodsmen living in ignorance and in blatant darkness. The world is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and sciences from Africa. Then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Their modern improvement
How much would you want to pay to wear the most comfortable shoes in the world? For today only.
Yeah. Morning. That's the voice of our beloved Marcus Garvey. If you never hear it
Position in the
before,
world at the present time most unfavorable and most uncomfortable.
great Marcus Garvey
The black
out
people
of
are subjects of
Jamaica,
ostracism. It is
who
sad that our
Jamaica
humanity has shown us no
didn't
more love, no
recognize,
greater sympathy than we are
and he have to
experiencing.
leave and come to America
Wheresoever you go throughout the
to
world,
get
the black man is
recognition.
discarded, is ostracized, is relegated
Because
to
he's
the
a
lowest
black
of things,
man,
social, political, and
and
economical. This therefore
he was
suggests a
there
problem and one that must be
all the
solved.
time,
We in this section
and
of the world
Jamaican
are not entirely
didn't
free from
embrace
this
him.
unkind, unsympathetic, and uncharitable
So
behavior
big up
of
to
the groups or
Marcus
races
Garvey.
around us. But since man has been placed on his own responsibility, whether he be black, white, or yellow, he must act on his own account. We will not unduly whine or complain, but reason among ourselves and see what can be done to remedy this state of affairs. Life is a conflict. You have to fight your way through it, whether you will it or not. Those of us who are able to fight most stubbornly live, accomplish most, and to them go the laurels, the palms, and triumph of our civilization and world. We unfortunately have not been trained nor educated to the truths of life, paradoxically so. He has shown us no more love, no greater sympathy than we are experiencing. Wheresoever you go throughout the world, the black man is discarded, is ostracized, is relegated to the lowest in things, social, political, and economical. This therefore suggests a problem and one that must be solved. We in this section of the world are not entirely free from this unkind, unsympathetic, and uncharitable behavior of the groups or races around us. But since man has been placed on his own responsibility, whether he be black, white, or yellow, he must act on his own account. We will not unduly whine or complain, but reason among ourselves and see what can be done to remedy this state of affairs. Life is a conflict. You have to fight your way through it whether you will it or not. Those of us who are able to fight most stubbornly live, accomplish most, and to them go the laurels, the palms, and triumph of our civilization and world. We unfortunately have not been trained nor educated to the truths of life, paradoxically so. May I say something to you to give you a true knowledge of yourself and life, so that the same glory and success attained by other men who understand themselves may be yours. Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man in lacking the knowledge that man is used to beautify the world and produce all that he needs for his happiness and civilization. Look the world over, and whatever you see in it that is pleasing to man, contributing to man's comfort, to his needs and to his satisfaction, it is but the work of man. Man blessed with the knowledge of himself and the understanding of all things around him. If you are able to live with the knowledge of yourself and with the greater knowledge of nature, you must know what is good and what is not. You must know what is finite. You must know that which is material, physical, and otherwise is at your disposal to create or otherwise use. If we leave America and go over to the east to Japan, they will be telling their fellow citizens of Japan of the wonderful accomplishments of the Japanese people, proving that man is moving onward as time moves on. But you have hated yourselves as you have done in previous years. You have shown malice, prejudice, and hate to each other. And the result is that while other races have made progress, while India has made progress towards nationalism, while Ireland has made progress towards republicanism, while the whole world has made progress in man's accomplishments, you still stand fighting yourselves, dishonoring yourselves, showing no disposition toward that higher life so that you will be abundantly blessed. So reflect and think that you were created for some purpose other than exhibiting malice toward your neighbor or fellow men of your own race. What a pity it is that we cannot stand united without a written law. There is no written law compelling other races to stand together. They are brought together by the gentle touch of nature. The unwritten law of nature causes them to stand together on all occasions. So wheresoever you find them in the field, that one gentle touch of nature causes them to stand together, if need be, die together. But with the black man, you can preach to him from the pulpits. You lecture from the platforms, from the byways and the hedges. The spirit of cooperation, but he will not cooperate. You talk to him gently, you try talking harshly to him, he still will not cooperate. The result is that he falls prey to those who understand themselves and walk through the world making you their serfs and slaves. You must acquire an understanding of yourselves. Look around you. See the smiling pictures of nature, the beautiful hedges, the wonderful mountains, the wonderful vegetation all around. But because of your disposition to each other, you live in suffering, in want, in penury, and in debt. You lack the gentle touch of nature, love for each other. You hate yourselves. Black men, what is wrong with you? Why have you no affection for yourselves? Could I hope to see you living among yourselves as the people I've spoken of? Living in charity, love, and in sympathy with each other? It can be done. I wonder if you will adapt that course. Isn't it easier to enjoy prosperity than to live in ignorance and darkness? Why select the worst out of nature? Nature never gave pain, suffering, and death to the world. It was man himself who selected death, pain, and sorrow. I wonder if I cannot inspire you to select between good and evil. Let me impress upon you once again that whatsoever your hardships may be, whatsoever your difficulties in life, they are your own selection. And so if you encourage them, if you husband them and take them to your bosom, they will abide with you. Nature will not take them away from you as Mother Nature did not give them to you. She is not responsible for your sorrows. Mother Nature represents all that is beautiful. She gave you the highest personality in the realm divine. Your sorrows are your own. If you want joy, if you want sunshine, it is before you abundantly in nature. I made a selection of sunshine, the beautiful sunshine. I made a selection to laugh with the moon, to laugh with the stars, and sing with the birds of the forest and of the wilderness, to join in the rhythmic music of the winds that sing from east to west and from north to south. Had I selected sorrow, I would have been dead a long time ago, and been without that which would send me into the presence of the divine, because I would have lived not with the knowledge that is divine. We must acquire the higher knowledge of life. Black men and black women, will you get the knowledge that the white man has that causes him to be leaders and masters in the world? They are not gods with a peculiar source for understanding the world around them. They have only given expression to the knowledge of their humanity and been able to use and conquer all to their satisfaction and glory. And that is why they are always greater than you in every community that you find them. Isn't it strange that wheresoever the white man is found, he takes precedence over you? Why is that so? Answer that for yourselves, black men and black women. Wheresoever you come in contact with the white man, you always have to go down in defeat before him. Whether it be in England, in France, or in America, you always have to go down to the white man, and yet he has 2 eyes, 2 feet, 2 hands, same passions, same senses and feelings as you have. Your feet are not put on opposite sides, now your hands turned around the other way. But it's because you fail to use your will, your knowledge, and your mental faculty to the point where you will enjoy life around you. I'm only here and not in the gutters and in the pond of despair because I use my intelligence. And I swear that no man alive shall ever use his intelligence in understanding the works of nature more than I. I shall rise as high as he ascends. I shall meet him on the same platform of mental equality and fight him till thy kingdom come, because nature created us equal. I want you to make up your minds as I've made up my mind years ago. Make up your mind that you will rise to the knowledge of your soul. Because of your ignorance, you cannot understand and decide between good and evil. You don't know whether you're doing right or wrong. With a greater knowledge of life, you're able to appreciate all things around you. I'm able to gather you here because I understand you. Understand your neighbor, your wife, your children, and you will be able to live in harmony with each other and get the best out of life.
If you're fighting against diabetes, pre-diabetes or high blood sugar, you must watch this. People are stopping their type 2 diabetes by adding this to their coffee.
Yes, that's the voice of Marcus Garvey. Originate from St. Anne's in Jamaica. Become a leader for the black race and for everyone that want to accept him. But he didn't get much support from the Jamaican, from the so-called Caucasian government, so he'd have to migrate to America. And he came to Harlem, and that's where he started his movement. And today we are so pleased to listen to the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Yesterday, we remember our ancestors. It was on November 29, 1781 at 8 p.m. On the same day that they were made, their murderous plan that 54 women and children on the zone on his way to Jamaica were pushed overboard, singled through the cabin window. And as proved Professor Malvin right, the timing was important for the slave. Darkness was falling, and the change in the ship watch allow all hands to be available for the killing. 2 days later, in the 1st of December, 42 men were thrown overboard from the quarter deck, and the killing continued in the day after 10 men, after understanding that was happening, jump to their death rather than to be pushed. And one of those, they tried to drown, climb back to the boat. So we have a great history, and we seem like we want to put that behind us like nothing ever happened. Some of us don't want to listen to Marcus Garvey. Garvey say, I got Jesus, I got Jesus on my side. I don't worry about what happened then. But the Jews still getting recognition from Hitler, from what they have been through in Germany. Yes, the Italians still getting recognition, but the black rather to choose Jesus, who they don't know, and Jesus, who they love so much, than to listen and to go back to history and to see what the ancestors have been through for us to have liberalization now. In the Gulf court, there was one black man who opened the way for Tiger Woods, because there was racism in the Gulf court. He just died at the age of 81. So those of you that turn your back from history and take up the Bible and say, I don't care what happened then, I got Jesus on my side. Let us go back to history and know ourselves. Let us go back and see where we are coming from, or what our ancestors have been through, that we can be here. Not that we was a part, but our ancestors were great. So let's go back to Marcus Garvey.
Fathers of our civilization, because they persevered in their object. When we hear the civilization of the Alexandrias, of the Timbuktus, the creation of the black man in the early ages, do we realize that the civilization we now enjoy was handed down to the present century? But the black man went back to sleep and is still sleeping. We are trying to awaken you to the true consciousness of yourselves. You young black men, you young black women, may we not appeal to you, knowing you as we do, to turn over a new leaf, rejecting the ignorance, the foolishness, the childishness that has been your part for these many years. We have looked into your faces, you growing manhood, the rising generation, and no serious thought can we see registered on your countenance but the thought of vulgarity. I've been in your presence and my heart bleeds for you, the conduct you reflect. I've listened to your dirty language used to express yourselves when you could have expressed yourselves in good form. Can I appeal to the black manhood to turn over a new leaf? I'm ashamed of my black manhood, and what I've said to the black man, I also said to the black women. Your conduct is disgraceful. Young women whose personality spells respectability.
That they force you to accept Christ and call yourself Christian. But do you know that's the worst thing that could ever happen to a person? Because when you call yourself a Christian, you are most hateful, you are most separated, you just do the worst upon the worst of the worst. You hate everybody. I don't even know, you maybe hate yourself. You don't want to come into reality because you call yourself Christian. Yeah, what is Christian? Christ-like, right? If you go into the scripture and read the scripture, you believe in the scripture, but you will not believe what the man Marcus Garvey has been saying. He been punished, he been persecuted, He been put down to the lowest common denominator. Yes, our brothers and our sisters. Uno just go look Friday and uno come out of uno bed and so uno go and shop for Black Friday because they think they are cheaper. Black Friday didn't mean for us. It meant for the slave master who want to buy slave at a cheaper rate. And that's when they put the slave out to auction the slave. They have them naked. They parade them, men and women, breasts out, vagina out, penis out. Look at them, they hold their face, they turn their face back and forth. They've been through a lot, but still yet we embrace Black Friday. Boxing Day was the time that England slave master gave to the slave that they could celebrate and do what they want to do that day. They only get one day where they could do everything. And we take it for granted. I don't understand what it was all about. But Boxing Day, that's when the slave got the day that they could celebrate, do what they want to do, dance, cook, and everything. So we have to go back to history. We can't give us sing song and talk about this and talk about that when we don't have no love for our brother and our sister. We hate one another. Bishop Baker just have a gospel award program Sunday, and other people who don't like Bishop Baker did not attend. So that's what I'm showing you. There's no togetherness in the Christendom world. There's separation. There's robbery. There's scammer in the Christendom world. Lot of scammer is in the Christendom world. Preacher come on pulpit and tell you this and tell you have to give this, you have to give that, you have to pay that, you have to pay your tithe, you have to pay your offering. You don't come to church, so you still have to pay, and you have to give this. It's scamming. There's nowhere in the Bible where it tell you that you have to go to church go give tithes. None. They are there to rob from you because they know that you believe that you're supposed to do that. Let's go back to Marcus Garvey.
At the least provocation, the filthy words they utter would almost make you turn and run away from.
The government of the United States, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation's director, J. Edgar Hoover, accused Marcus Garvey of using the U.S. mail on trial.
After 11 hours of deliberation, the jury was called in by the eminent Jewish jurist Judge Mack and given a second set of instructions without their request. The gist of it was that if they had come back with a not guilty or hung jury, to remember the expense in which the government would be put, the public would have lost time, the court, the jury, and the witness would have to go through the entire exercise again. They went back into the jury room and 30 minutes later came back with a verdict. Justice is greater than the law. If justice was not included in the law, then the law would be of no use to us as human beings. What I was concerned with was the truth. I asked no mercy. I asked no sympathy. I asked for justice based on the evidence given in the courtroom. I later found out that the judge wanted to speed things up because he had an appointment with the International Zionist Convention in Chicago. It was also due to the fact that I had acquired my first set of papers for naturalization. In my closing statement, I told those 12 men that they were to judge a man by the testimony, by what had been brought into the case, by their judgment of what is wrong and what is right. You may condemn the body, but not the soul. It was not in their power to condemn the body. God condemns the soul. Judge me, and God will judge you for judging Marcus Garvey.
Hey, Oscar here for Oscar. I'm a busy man with a lot of mouths to feed, so I'll cut you at the chase.
The trial took 5.5 weeks, and every day I had a fight with the district attorney. As we went along, I realized it was impossible for me to escape the traps that were being laid out by the press, rival organizations, personal enemies, foreign governments who were interested in me being convicted. No one, not even the absent attorney, could have fought for me as I fought for myself, because he would have been risking the friendship and goodwill of the powerful influences that were aligned against me. There were several witnesses brought in by the government who probably because of a bribe would say anything the prosecutors told them to. For instance, Edgar Gray, a man with a superabundance of intelligence, could not say where he was really from. He claimed he was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. That man was a coconut born in Antigua. Superabundance of intelligence, could not say where he was really from.
Representing for Sun Life, total health. Whoa. If you want lion paw roots tonic, benefactor wood roots tonic, yeah. Sunside bitters, whoa. Slim possible. 4060 White Plains Road, Bronx, New York. 10466. Telephone 718-547-3760. Fax 347-945-0670. Email sunlifehealth06@aol.com. Website www.sunlifehealth.com. Healthy lifestyle. Sun Life Total Health. Whoa. Home every day from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Keep it represent to the fullest.
That man was a coconut born in Antigua. Gray disappeared from the UNIA with funds of the organization which he handled in my absence and for whom a warrant was out for his arrest. There was also Leo Healy. I regarded him as a friend. The very morning when he came in to testify, I met him outside, shook his hand, not knowing that he was there to testify against me. And he said I was a good man, then I was bad because I did not pay him the bills of the Black Star Line. Garvey was not the Black Star Line. We were not asking his opinion of the Star Line. We were asking his opinion of Marcus Garvey. He said understand that he believed that I was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Now he knows there ain't no black man a member of the KKK. Well, when we placed Mrs. Lawson on the witness stand, well, she wore dark glasses, obviously to obscure the movements of her eyes and her line of stare as she tried to communicate with the prosecutor. During cross-examination, we asked her to show her subpoena. As she fumbled around and looked at the district attorney, lowering her head, waiting for his approval. She said she bought stock in 1917, even though the Black Star Line never sold stock in 1917. It was not in existence then. She claimed to be sick, as were two other witnesses who were able to make a quick $30 in the 5 minutes they spent on the stand. Prosecutor wanted to appeal to the sympathy of that jury. A young man named Cargill admitted on the stand to the dismay and disgust of the prosecutor that he was told what to say concerning the circulars and letters supposedly brought in as evidence in the case. Folks try to misrepresent me and say that I do not like white people. Some of my best friends are white. The bishop, who was my friend since my youthful days, testified. When I asked him of his opinion of Marcus Garvey, he said, doubtful. They didn't understand what he meant. I was a public man. Opinions differ. Surely some men are doubtful of me and some are not. He didn't say that Garvey was doubtful. When I asked him for his personal opinion, the question was objected to and sustained by the judge, claiming that it was an improper question. There were some white-controlled newspapers who felt that I was railroaded. I remember one of them stated that my troubles began when I stepped on the toes of France and Great Britain, and that it was a very grave question whether justice had been in my case. After I was found guilty, they released me on $25,000 bail pending the hearing of the appeal. While waiting, I formed the Black Cross Navigation and Trading Company, business enterprises which comprised the Negro Factories Corporation, the Black Eagles Flying Corps, dress and millinery shops, a publishing company and printing plant, a phonograph company, a restaurant, laundries, a black doll factory, a hotel, a chain of grocery stores, and the Royal African Motor Corps, a fleet of moving vans. I was in Detroit when the mandate was handed down. Having received a telegram to return immediately, I got on the first train leaving for New York. When I arrived, I was brutally seized by heavily armed men and pulled from a Pullman car at the 125th Street station and taken to the Tombs prison. Oh, that there are certain people who do not like me because I am black. They do not like me because I was not born in the United States. Some Irish slave master gave my great-great-grandfather his name. Garvey is not an African name. It's Irish. Garcia is not African, nor is Thompson or Johnston. They were inherited from our slave masters, English, French, Irish, or Scotch. If I was born in Jamaica, it was no fault of mine. It was because the slave ship which took me to Jamaica did not go to American ports, and that is how some Negroes in America were not born in the West Indies.
Mr. Garvey, why would you want to stand up to a great republic like America?
We're not fighting America. We're not fighting this great government.
Then what are you doing?
We're fighting hypocrisy and lies, and this we're going to fight until the bitter end.
Are you fearful of being deported?
There's no federal law whereby I could be processed against on the grounds of being an undesirable from the point of view of deportation.
Yes, there is. Under Section 19 of the Act to regulate the immigration of aliens to and their residence in the U.S.
I arrived in this country on March 23rd, 1916. Today is June 18, 1923. That law still has not been enacted.
From the NAACP says, and I quote, Garvey must go.
Which is why J. Edgar Hoover has trumped up these charges against me.
Do you think it was a good idea to fire your attorney?
Yes.
Do you think that representing yourself could backfire on you?
No, I do not.
Why not?
The Constitution allows every man the privilege to defend themselves, to prove his innocence before an American court of justice, and so I decided to do so irrespective of being a lawyer.
District Attorney Mattock asked the jury, quote, gentlemen, will you let the tiger loose? What's your reaction?
Guilty men are afraid of jail. I'm as much at home in jail for the cause of human rights as I am in my drawing room.
Well, what did you think of Mr. Dancy's testimony?
Mr. Dancy was used by this government to testify against me. You heard him when the prosecutor asked him whether any of the letters were from the Black Star Line.
He couldn't remember.
He couldn't remember. Mr. Dancy can't read. My life is at stake and he couldn't remember. What happened in that courtroom was a charade. You all know he was just lying through his teeth.
You're a foreigner. Why are you making all these waves? Even George Harris, editor of the New York News, a colored newspaper published in Harlem, referred to you as an alien.
An alien is one who enters a country on his own account without any invitation and who domiciles himself in that portion of the country because of his own desire.
Isn't that exactly what you do?
Fathers, but against my will, by stubborn protest, somebody seized me and brought me here from my silent repose in Africa 300 years ago.
When they get rid of you, then what?
This is only the first Marcus Garvey. There will be other cubs in the fold.
You met with Edward Young Clark, the acting imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan?
Yes.
What was that meeting like?
It was rather cordial. He made it clear that they are interpreting the true spirit of every true American.
What is the attitude of the Klan towards a Negro who desires to be, say, President of the United States?
That he shall never be as long as there is one white man living in this country.
But isn't America a white man's country?
Yes, it is a white man's country because he conquered the Indian, exterminated him, and took possession of his property. I'd say the KKK is the invisible government of the United States.
All Americans over 65 are getting a large benefit this month, but only if they claim it. If you were born before 1957, you could...
What do you mean?
The Klan represents the spiritual feeling and even the physical attitude of every white man in this land.
Do you realize that such statements could get you lynched?
We have 5 million substantial oak trees between Africa and the West Indies. We are ready for a lynching party tonight if they wanted to.
Recently, there have been several rapings of black women by whites. Was that discussed?
Yes, it was. He claims that they are as much against that as any self-respecting Negro should be. But I know better. In my opinion, they are structured for the purpose of offending, suppressing, and killing Negroes. I would advise every Negro and those who aspire to leadership to form an organization similar to that of the Ku Klux Klan so that they may be able to look out for their own interests and not continue to be begging white people to do for them what they ought to be doing for themselves. Thank you very much. Part of my trial is that I was indicted along with others for conspiracy to use the United States mails to defraud in promotion of the Black Star Line Steamship Company. Yet my conviction was void of conspiracy in that I alone was convicted. If I understand my conviction clearly, I was convicted for selling stock in the Black Star Line after I knew to be insolvent. The difference between us and the trial court is that they wanted a conviction. All the others who had more to do with the actual selling of stock than I went free because they were not wanted. I received the fullest penalty that the law could impose. 5 years in the penitentiary, the maximum fine of $5,000 as provided by the law, and the entire cost of the case, a condition not generally imposed maybe once in 25 years. It was not Marcus Garvey on trial. It was not a question of money on trial. It was the principle of a race fighting for liberty on trial. And when you attack the principles of the UNIA, Garvey goes to war, and he remains on the firing line until he passes away or until Victor perches on the banner. I am going to prison because I dare to serve you, neglect my home, a loyal and dear woman, my wife, and myself. Above all, the things I prize most in the world is the honor of my name. I have never in all my life, to my conscious knowledge, done one mean act. Because it has always been the policy of my life to live with honor or die for the principle. How well I have succeeded is made manifest in the sweeping consciousness that has taken hold of the race in Africa, America, the West Indies, Central and South America, Asia, and my imprisonment for so doing. The National Association for the Advancement of of colored people and others who have combined to fight the UNIA are going to be disappointed. As they cannot harm Marcus Garvey. Not Judge Mack, not J. Edgar Hoover, not W.E.B. Du Bois and his Blue Vein Society, nobody. The history of the movement is now being written. Do you know what history means? History is the guidepost of a race. It is the inspiration for succeeding generations either to go forward or stand still, either to revenge or be revenged. I had a motive and a purpose. It was a crying voice from the grave that said, Garvey, we have suffered for 250 years for your day and time. We expect something of you at this hour. The prejudice against us as an African people is not because of color, it's because of our condition. The prejudice against us as an African people is not because of color, it's because of our condition. If we must have justice, we must be strong. If we must be strong, we must come together. If we must come together, we can only do so through the system of organization. But to fight for African redemption does not mean that you must be disloyal to any government or country wherein you were born. It is not our purpose or intention to send all black people back to Africa. No! Those of us who leave America to go settle permanently in Africa will become pioneers, pilgrim fathers of the new nation. The African race became strong in Africa, it could be strong everywhere. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were brutalized, we were maimed, we were killed, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cries raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise a cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is a man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It's because of this that we are asking for a fair compromise. The Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use. They have not the resources to develop nor the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which you cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing under fair circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa is walking around not only on her feet, but on her brains. You can enslave, as was done for 300 years, the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. Bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Dive down, black men, and dig. Reach up, black men and women, and pull all nature's knowledge to you. Turn you around and make a conquest of everything, north and south, east and west. And then when you will have wrought will, you will have merited God's blessings. And as you bow down to the white man today, so will other races bow down to you and call you a race of masters because of the superiority of your minds and your achievements.
Men over 40 who don't fail in bed with a girl know this powerful compound that they take before they go to bed with a girl. You just need to warm it up for a few seconds right there in your home, and it will be able to make...
We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor, black men and black women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside of Joan of Arc. Christmas Addicts and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than that of the martyrs of any other race. Africa's produced countless numbers of men and women in war and peace whose luster and bravery outshine that of any other people. Then why not see good and perfection in ourselves? God made man Lord of his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world, and you have been so darned lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to apologize to anybody for being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good-for-nothings. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other races have done, what other nations have done, then you... Can we do it? We can do it. Is any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Let me say that again. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. Britain under William Pitt, Earl of Chatham did it. America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. Because when the history of my suffering is complete, future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. After my enemies are satisfied, in life or death I shall come back to serve even as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foes of African liberty. Than me to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a cyclone or a plague or pestilence or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. If I should die in prison in Atlanta, my work shall not only just begin, but I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black, and the green around me. For in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to lead the millions up the heights of triumph in the colors that you well know. Look for me in the world when there are storm. Look for me all around you. For I shall come back and bring with me countless millions of black slaves who have died in America, who have died in the West Indies, and millions who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. The world today has gone drunk and crazy with its power, and by such through injustice, fraud, and lies have crushed the unfortunate. But if I'm crushed by the system of influence and misdirected power, my cause shall rise again to plague the conscience of the corrupt. For this I'm happy to suffer and even die, but I will write the history for the millions that are coming and leave the posterity to reckon with the host for the deeds of their fathers. If others laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. They have no more right to dishonor, disrespect, and disregard your feeling in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you. Disrespect and disregard them when they vilely treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of obscurity as we have. Their history is rooted in as primitiveness as ours. Their ancestors ran wild and naked, lived in caves and in branches of trees like monkeys as ours. They made human sacrifices, ate the flesh of their own dead and the raw meat of wild beasts for centuries, even as they have accused us of doing. Their cannibalism was more prolonged than ours. When we were embracing the arts and sciences on the banks of the Nile, their ancestors were still drinking human blood and eating out of the skulls of their conquered dead. When our civilization had reached the noonday of progress, they were still running naked and sleeping in holes and caves with bats, rats, and other insects and animals. After we had already unfathomed the mystery of the stars and reduced the heavenly constellation to minute and regular calculus, they were still backwoodsmen living in ignorance and in blatant darkness. The world today is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and sciences from Africa. Then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Remember always that the Jew in his political and economic urges is always first a Jew. The white man is first a white man under all circumstances, so you can do no less than be black, buy black, and then all else will take care of itself. The one inoculate you with evil doctrines to suit their own conveniences. There is no humanity before that which starts with yourself. Charity begins at home. So first that thyself be true, and thou canst not then be false to any man. Being at present scientifically the weaker race, in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children. And be sure to develop a race of scientists par excellence. For in science and religion lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. At the great Church of Rome, black people the world over must practice one faith, and that of confidence in themselves, with one God, one aim, one destiny. Never forget your God. Remember, we live, work, and pray for the establishing of a great and binding racial hierarchy, the founding of a racial empire whose only natural, spiritual, and political limits shall be God and Africa at home and abroad. Because we are descendants of a suffering people. We are the descendants of a people determined to suffer no longer. Many men and women as black as I am, and even more so, had believed themselves white under the West Indian Aryan Society. I was simply an impossible man to use openly the term Negro, yet everyone beneath his breath was calling the black man a nigger. I had to decide whether to please my friends and be one of the black whites of Jamaica and be reasonably prosperous, or come out openly and help improve and protect the integrity of the black millions and suffer. I decided to do the latter. There is no future for people who deny their past. My foreparents, my grandparents, my mother, my father did not suffer and die to give me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people. Whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more light for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior, that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class. He was a wooden drawers of water. I predicated my view of man in the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, were created in the image of God. From this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested in brotherhood within his own race, because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must in some sense be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal. Because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. We believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, and we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia.
Did you know there is a potent 15-second ritual that shrinks your prostate faster than everything else discovered? A recent...
Do you know what it is to be a man? To be a man is to bear resemblance of the Creator, the image of the Creator. If you are conscious of the fact that you are created in the image of the Creator, then you are a man. Man is a religious being. That is to say, you must have some kind of belief. Call it superstition or not. Some of us make our God the God of fire. Some of us make our God a God of water. Some of us make our God a God of elements. And others of us accept the Christian belief. Religion is something we cannot eliminate from his system or destroy in him. Therefore, it is folly for any man to go about attacking another man's religion, because to him it is fundamental. Be a Mohammedan, that is your religion. We are entitled to our own religious beliefs. Some of us are Catholics, some of us are Baptists, some of us are Presbyterians. And we deem it a right to adhere to our own particular belief. The white world has always tried to rob and discredit us of our history. They tell us that Tutankhamun, the king of Egypt who reigned about the year 1350 BC, was not a black man. that the ancient civilization of Egypt and the pharaohs was not of our race. But that does not make the truth unreal. History of impartial mind knows that we once ruled the world. When white men were savages and barbarians living in caves, thousands of our professionals at that time taught in the universities of Alexandria, then the seat of learning. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt. No black man shall be truly respected until the race as a whole has emancipated itself through self-achievement and progress from universal prejudice. He has to build his own government, industry, art, science, literature, and culture before the world will stop to consider him. Until then, we are but wards of a superior race and civilization and the outcasts of a standard social system. Back in the days of slavery, race mixture and miscegenation had occurred because the African woman had no protection from the slave master. So there is no need today for black people to themselves freely continue a practice that smacks so much of slavery. One of our problems historically is that we have always been reacting to initiatives taken by other people. You cannot depend upon another race to free you. That is a basic law of human existence. I came into the Caucasian culture at a time when the white man still had a need for the black man's labor. I preached and penetrated the mass black man's consciousness to such a degree that the white man felt threatened by me being capable of commanding so much black time and attention. Whites find it hard to sit idly by and let this black man take their slave labor away, especially back to Africa. Who then would bear the white man's burden? I feel that my blood shall pay that remission for which future generations of our race shall be declared free. Freedom of action, freedom of opportunity are things we need, which I believe can only be gained after we shall have established an imperial power to command the respect of other races and nations. Thoughts bring vile actions to vile people living in vile times. You could not tell me in the 1920s that 80 years later the world would be infested with neutron bombs, AIDS, drugs, homelessness, terrorism, laser beams, and visible nuclear devastation. However, were I alive today, I would still recommend the same remedy for my people's upliftment. Self-esteem, self-respect, and self-reliance in a world gone crazy with individualism. I never taught racism, but rather dignity and pride in one's race. With God's dearest blessings, I leave you for a while.
Today, more than 5,500 people are incarcerated on Rikers Island. That's close to 50%.
Did not suffer and die to give me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people. Because whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man on the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God. Now, from this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested in brotherhood within his own race, because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must, in some sense, be black. the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal, because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. But we believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God of Father, God of Son, God of Holy Ghost, the one God of all ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise the cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is a man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use, they have not the resources to develop nor the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing under fair circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Now Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa is walking around not only on her feet, but on her brains. You can enslave as was done for 300 years the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. You can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Dive down, black men, and dig. Reach up, black men and women, and pull all nature's knowledge to you. Turn ye around and make a conquest of everything, north and south, east and west. And then when you have wrought well, you will have merited God's blessing. You will have become God's chosen people, and naturally you will become leaders of the world. And as you bow down to the white man today, so will other races bow down to you and call you a race of masters because of the superiority of your mind and your achievements. Because no race has the last word on culture and on civilization. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, battleships, aeroplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business.
Yes, that's the voice of Marcus Garvey. Yes, we so happy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
You know, today is Marcus Garvey Day, you know. You know Marcus Garvey?
No, me and him never used to hold on and cross the road, but me hear about him.
What you hear? What good thing you hear about Marcus Garvey?
Now, him did basically find the funding for the train, Black Starliner.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And where you come from?
St. Anne's, Jamaica.
Oh, you're bright. What you have today?
Extra beach fish, fried chicken, jerk chicken. We have festival dumpling, bami fritters, pumpkin salad. We have food, we have plantains, cabbage, baked chicken, oxtail, curry chicken food, curry cow food. And we have okra and starfish, we have cook-up starfish, we have oxtails, we have burnt chicken, we have ackee. And we're making the juices currently.
What about the pudding?
Pudding always there, you know, always.
What about soup?
Yes, we have soup. Let me tell you what kind of soup we have. Yeah, we have chicken soup today. So for all of you that are cold, we have the soup for the warm weather. Yeah.
You know, say the first time Golden Ring get an intelligent worker.
Don't say that.
Yes, it's true because I've never get anybody speak on the radio like just away from the owner.
That's why I tell Anne-Marie to give me a raise.
Yeah, okay, where is she?
Sit downstairs in the basement. We're making the juices freshly right now.
Alright, I'm going to tell her to give you a raise.
Alright.
Alright, bye. Yes, good afternoon to each and everyone. We are here, we're just playing some excerpt from the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who originates out of St. Anne's, Jamaica. You all should be very proud of the great national hero, Mr. Marcus Garvey. Got a lot of speech, you know. When I don't remember what I read when he came to Harlem. And you know, the black man tell him how to. Black people, let me tell you about black people now. Black people is the worst enemy to black people. Do you know that? Black people hate to see when you strive. If they could put their foot on your neck and you can't get no breath and you're paralyzed, that would be the best choice for you. That's how black man don't think about anything good about black people. Black people think that we have black people around us and they are good to us. They are that. They are the worst enemy that we have around us. Black men, black people in general. They sell you out in a minute. They will sell you out in a minute. That's how they don't want to see your progress. They hate when you see your progress. You understand? If they're gonna do something for you, they will charge you a lot of money and they will not finish your work. They will walk off of the job and don't do the work. That's how black man is. Black man is your greatest enemy. You think the white man are your enemy? Or the black man? Yes, the black man is your greatest enemy. Especially the Jamaican them that you hang around. You think the Jamaican black people are coming to America, they're good? They are the worst. They come like Janko. Some of them come like Janko. They hate to see you strive. They're not going nowhere and they hate to see you strive. They hate to see you live proper. They hate to see you live a decent life. They hate to see that you don't depend upon them. And they will try to do anything to discriminate you. Thank God for Marcus Garvey for opening up the way. We are here today. I want to thank the Most High God for allowing us to be here today. Thanksgiving come and gone. Do you know I live into a neighborhood for years. I live into a neighborhood for years. From 1981, I live in this neighborhood. I got most Jamaican neighbor around. Yes. Lately, we start to have Guyanese Indian and Trinidadian Indian. Not one of the Jamaican neighbor around ever asked me, is all is well? Is everything is okay with you? You know, Jamaican. When I didn't have a place to live because of the fire in my house, and the expiration of the hotel was expired, I'd have to leave the hotel. I asked one of my neighbor, could you rent me your attic for 2 months? Or you could rent me a basement for 2 months. She said, somebody gonna rent it, you know, I didn't know, you should ask. And you check a stack. When you check a stack, she never rent me the basement. She didn't rent me the attic. And I watch it. Nobody move in there. Jamaican neighbor is the worst set of neighbor. They don't look out for you. They don't look out for you. This Thanksgiving, I have some Indian 3 hours away from mine. 2 hours from mine. Not even on my real block, on the side block. And I say to one of them, I say, you make roti? She say, yes. I say, when you make roti again, could you give me 3 of them because I like roti? She said, okay. And ladies and gentlemen, I was not here Thanksgiving. I don't know where I was. But when I came back, I got a platters with roti. I got a platter with chicken and rice. I got I got cake. I got pie. I've never received anything from a Jamaican around here. Never received. And you know something? I always reach out to them, you know. I always reach out to them. They are a set of no good. Jamaican neighbor, they are a set of no good. They hate to see you strive. I don't care what nobody said. They don't like you. They don't like to see you go no further. They don't. Thank God for those Trinidadian Indian and the Guyanese Indian. They show you more interest. If I ask a Jamaican who I help out all the time to do me a favor, I have to pay them. I have to pay them. And they will not do it unless I pay them. Thanksgiving, I could not sit around my dining table because a Jamaican work on my chairs and pull it up, take off the screw because they didn't do right. And he never come back. He never come back and put back the seat them on the chair. That's what you get from your own people. You think say they are with you, but they are not with you. They are against you. They are a vagabond. They are haters. I don't know where in Jamaica, where in Africa that we get those slaves from that come to Jamaica. But it's not good. It is not good. The slaves them that went to Jamaica, I don't know where in Jamaica they come from, but they are back here, you know, you got some good people, you know. You got some good people come out of Jamaica, you know. But it's hard to find them. You don't find much of them. You do not find much, but you got some. But you have to dig deep. You know, like when you dig winter yam and you go down to the bottom, and when you tell you go down, you have to go deeper. You have to dig deep to find the good one them. Trust me. They are not good people. They hate to see you strive. They hate to see you strive. They're no good. They are no good. No good.
I have a
Christian,
in my old health insurance.
some of them use the church
for my teeth, crowns, and cleanings.
to hide
Covers all of my
their
treatments.
dirty heed. They call themselves Christian. Just of God's church. And they don't love their brothers. They don't love their sister. They don't unite with one another. They don't unite. And then to them I go to church every Sunday. Them I keep concert. Them I keep that. Them I keep that. If I keep it a concert, they don't support my concert. You understand? And they will tell other people not to support me. I'm not saying they do that to me, but I'm just saying the way they work. They don't support one another. They do not support one another. All the churches in Jamaica, in the Bronx, you don't find no visiting Bronx preacher into another church away from their church. If it's even 2 people in a Fiden's church, they not take their congregation to support another church. Sad, right? And you call yourself a child of God.
Raising more covered for.
Call yourself a child of God. When you do a wicked deed to your brothers and your sister, they did to Marcus. They sell out Marcus Garvey with 25 cents, you know. They did. But I give thanks to the good people. I give thanks to the good people. Not everybody bad. But it's very hard to find them. Very hard to find them. We got some good one. And the good one always suffer for the bad one. They will discourage people from being around you. Yes, they will discourage people good people from being around. They talk the nastiest thing about you, which is not even true. They don't even know what they're talking about. That's how they are. That's the way they are. They are not helpful. They are not kind. They are not loving.
$0.
No tender
How to get
mercy.
super fast Wi-Fi anywhere.
Quick to put you
anytime,
down
in
to the
6
lowest
seconds.
common denominator.
Do you know what the
But
extra
with
button on
God,
your
all things is possible.
Mr. Moderator, Reverend Cleage,
All things is possible.
brothers and sisters,
Let-
friends, I see some enemies. In fact, I think we'd be fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that there were some enemies present. This afternoon, we want to talk about the ballot. The ballot or the bullet explains itself.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. What's going on? You ever hear about Marcus Garvey yet?
Yes, Mr. Victor, Jamaica, I come from.
Where you come from?
No. I only know from Jamaica.
That's all you know about your great leader?
Sir, I don't know anything about none of them here. There are none of them.
And you don't know
what them born in Jamaica, and that's it.
And you don't know what they stand for or nothing?
No.
Jesus Christ. You don't know what parish Marcus Garvey come from?
You said me not know, Mr. Victor. If I know, I would have told you.
You know any good thing that he has done?
No.
You know any good word that he has said?
Seriously? Well, no, Mr. Victor. We have customers, so we tell them we have some menu.
Yeah, please. Because we can't talk. Tell me what you have. Jesus.
Oxtail, curry goat, curry chicken, stew chicken, jerk chicken, fried chicken, jerk pork, salmon, stew peas, festival and breadfruit. We have goated soup and we have chicken soup.
All right. I'm going to get you a Marcus Garvey book, right?
Okay, no problem.
And you must read it.
Okay, I will, definitely.
All right.
Okay.
And that's Lamy Restaurant, right?
Yes, located on East 233rd Street, right at the corner, East 233rd and Gunter.
All right, okay.
Okay.
I remember saying no Marcus Garvey. It's a shame, though. It's a shame we don't know our own history. Sad, right? We don't know Marcus Garvey. We don't know that, but we know Jesus. He died for you. You read it in the Bible that Jesus died on the cross for you, and he's the only one. You love him, and he loves you. You don't, but you don't know your hero.
Things that
I'm telling you, great is thy faithfulness.
I'm
Damn.
still a Muslim. That is my
Let me play another song. Good morning, good afternoon.
The Rasta said no sin at all. Rasta said no sin cannot end, curse I Zion so bright and
Big up Miss O. Big up Michelle.
Rasta said no sin.
Right. Big up Miss Home. Big up Michelle.
Fire burn! Earthquake in desolate places now. Come on. Father, sin, no sin hard. Father, sin, no sin. Rasta, sin, no sin hard. Rasta, sin, no sin. Jonathan, where's Zion, so bright and Rastafari said,
Good afternoon, Mama Swaby and Lady J. Good afternoon, Mama Swaby and I want to know, this is what I want to know. Lady J. I want to know, this is what I want to know. Yeah, this is what I want to find out. When you go to school in Jamaica. Yeah, this is what I want to find out. When you go to school in Jamaica, right? When you go to school, what type of history they teach in high school, college, all those stuff? They don't teach the real history of our people. And that's the reason why so much Jamaican don't know anything about their people they call heroes. Because number one, Buster Manty, what is hero? How you become a hero? How Buster Manty become a hero? How Norman Manley become a hero? What has he done? Sam Sharp, they have to go through. Honey have to go through. Paul Bogle have to go through death. Marcus Garvey betray. So in school they don't teach you all that. They teach you about the white stuff. They don't teach you about the real black slave. They don't teach you nothing like that. Wow. Very sad. Miss Ho? Miss Ho, you're not the only one they are calling. They go in the phone and they call up quite a few people, and at one time she told someone not to tell me they call her. So I said, why would she tell them not to call me? I don't know why. We are trying to help her out, but so you know what I do? I just leave it alone. I don't get involved. Because you're not the only one they're calling. They call other people also. And I don't know. I don't know.
Rastafari say no sin cannot let the word of Iman
and meditation. Big up to local sunlight.
might be accept devil
Live. Good afternoon.
Hello. Are you from Jamaica?
No.
Where you from?
Trinidad.
You know Marcus Garvey? Have you ever heard about Marcus Garvey?
Good afternoon, Sun Life.
Have you ever heard about Marcus Garvey?
No, sir, but we about Nanny.
You don't know nothing about Marcus Garvey?
No, Nanny.
Then if you bring you up on White Plain Road like all the time cold and take off your pants and whip you. Whip you little kid. You don't know about Marcus Garvey?
I don't know where I come from, but I know Marcus Garvey, but I don't really know much about them, man. If you ask about the woman, them now, like Nanny and Portia and all them woman there.
You let me down.
No, but of course, Marcus Garvey, Mustamanti. Every primary school in Jamaica, you see all them pictures post up on the school them.
And they teach you about them?
Yeah, man.
What they told you about Marcus?
The brain gets whole now, not function now.
So if Mama Swaby asks you for teacher, how you that tell her? You have to tell her say break get home so you can't manage.
No, sir, Mama Swaby tell no, say Mama Swaby calm now, you know, say she was busy, then I can't reason.
So you can teach her what she don't know?
Yeah, man.
So like you're whole and you're done now, you're not no use for her then?
No, sir, me no, sir, me look for Amina cake, me still young fresh.
How about Sister Grand?
I'm a best to that.
Alright, what you have today?
Alright, so today we have chocolate with eggplant and broccoli. We have scrambled tofu. We have the curry with the Tijuana fish. We have the chopsuey with the chicken, ital stew, steamed burger. And we also have stir-fried veggie rice. We have fish patty, ackee patty. We have peas patty, but the lentil peas. And we have jerk plantain. We have pumpkin. We have callaloo. And we have barbecue jackfruit.
Oh, the jackfruit come?
Yeah, man.
I will be there after I finish your radio. CF2.
CF2.
No, CF2 for me.
Alright, and if they want juice, now we have sorry and sweet, we have the strawberry mass, we have homemade ginger beer, we have pineapple and cherry, we have sauce and guava, we have tamarind, we have pumpkin, okra, we have carrot, we have green juice, we have lemon and ginger, we have mango, pomegranate, we have turmeric and orange, we have beetroot, and we have sesame seed.
Wow.
So,
you got a lot
everything healthy.
Mama Swaby say her body a run down. Where she can take?
Alright, her body a run down. We can get some beetroot to go and block the blood and thing. You understand? After that, Mr. Mama Swaby will take care of you. Give you some okra punch. You go and make your back get strong and you know the way there. Get some nice good healthy food to eat. You know, put a pan of rice, you know carbs, and so get like a little steamed burger with some beans and thing, you know, and take care of my baby.
What you have for blood clot?
Cayenne pepper also good for that, and good for the blood circulation. Yeah, drink cayenne pepper very good. You can put the cayenne pepper in a little water, tea, your food. Yeah. We have the tamarind oil now. Good for blood circulation and we are same way. It's Ethiopian oil. You can rub it any spot, you know. You feel the pain or the blood now circulate properly.
Okay.
You can also drink molasses, because maybe, you know, you want to go ahead and keep the blood flowing also too. But the black strap mask is the best one.
Oh, you mix it with, you just heat it like a tea.
No man, you can drink, put it in a little water, man, and sweeten it and drink it.
And it go for the blood, it let the blood run freely.
Yeah, man, but cayenne pepper is very good for that. Very, very good.
So how would they take the cayenne pepper now?
No, man, you can tip a little bit in water where you can consume it. But not too much, but a little. You can put it, sprinkle it on your food. You drink a tea, you take liquid and drink it. Which part you feel the pain, or which part you feel like the cramp and everything, you can also rub a liquid with the Ethiopian turmeric oil.
Well, you know, all this time I talk to you, me think say you want food, you know.
No, man, I don't want food, no, idiot.
You know, don't say you was so intelligent, nature-wise.
Yeah, man, but me kind of jovial person, so me like be happy, you know?
Okay. So, like our sister Grant, no have nobody and she's so lonely. You would be the right person for her.
Yeah, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
You teach her.
Me teach her and everything, man, and groom her and everything for you, you know?
How is the navel, you know the navel have some vein, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you supposed to rub your navel with?
You know, so back home we used to, like olive oil, we used to warm it and rub around the root.
What? Olive what?
Olive oil.
Wow.
You know, so we used to like warm it like, and rub the root of the navel. And some people use Vicks.
You don't carry thyme oil over there?
No, but me carry tea tree oil, peppermint.
And you could use that?
Yeah, you could use the peppermint. And you know, so back home, you could tip a little peppermint and warm water. Your parents will give you a drink.
You know, so there's a lot of vein in your navel that run all over your body. And if it...
I'm going to say, I'll pass nobody have a vein for itself, you know.
Yeah. Well, me happy for you. Make sure you leave the party here, because I'm done, we are coming on there.
Alright, sir.
Because me say party make raise the dead and everything.
Yeah, man. But maybe fear them can't come back.
Because by Michelle hear you.
I sister got more if you hear me for trouble with the time and sister got.
Alright,
Mama, so you be.
What kind of soup you say you have today?
Red peas.
Alright.
Alright.
Yes, that's Sun Life 4060 White Plain Road, where you get the best of the best. Check out Sun Life.
Let the words of thy mouth and the meditation of thy heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Most High Selassie, Jah Rastafari. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where thy voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. Rastafari is the lily
of the valley. Good afternoon, Miss Pansy. Good afternoon. Lady Love, good afternoon. Auntie Mac, big up yourself. Sister Mitchell, great, big up yourself, lady.
In them, there's a tabernacle set for the sun, which has a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit upon the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. Lightning. Everyone should know. Everyone should know. Everyone should I know? Oh, Rastafari.
My old health insurance would charge me extra for my...
The law of the Most High is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Most High is true, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Most High are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Most High is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Most High is clear, enduring forever. The judgments of the Most High are true and righteous altogether.
We know you that hear that one there.
Desired are they than gold, yea, more than much fine gold. Sweeter also than the honey and the honeycomb. Moreover by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret fall. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over I. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgressions. Selah, Selassie. Everyone should know. Shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgressions. Selah. Everyone should know. Rock it. Oh, Rastafari. Let the words of thy mouth and the meditation of thy heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Most High, thy strength and thy redeemer. Selah, Selassie.
I am so grateful to be here today. Definitely. I'm really grateful to be in the land of the living. I am so grateful to be amongst good people. Definitely. Yes, to be amongst grateful people that cares and people that respect one another. We have a group of people that respect one another. They might not come out and say yes, but they will defend each other. And we thank God for them. In every way, they are wonderful. There are some people who come on every day to be here. So if you come in for the first time, we want you to take a seat and enjoy the service or enjoy the group and just make yourself comfortable because you're among good people, all right? Big up to Anne-Marie. I don't know where she is today. Big up to Anne-Marie. And I hope I hope that you all did have a wonderful Thanksgiving. This is one of my call. This is one of my supporter calling. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? Today is my first time in the church. Thank you for the welcome.
Have a seat and welcome the visitor.
I'm sitting in the middle pew.
Okay.
Is today National Heroes Day on this station?
Yes. On the station.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
You're what? You're what?
I'm proud of you.
How are you today, ma'am?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I am wonderful.
That's awesome.
Where in Jamaica are you from, ma'am?
I'm not from Jamaica, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm from here.
From here?
Yeah.
What's from here?
In Brooklyn.
Where?
In Crown.
What hospital? Catch you.
Anyway, I'm going to get you up because the man done it and we done it today. The man of the station. And we done it today.
Yeah.
And the man of the shop. I'm going to start calling and bless you. You understand?
Yeah, rescue me.
Nobody can say.
Are you?
Nobody can say Sister Michelle empty clip fire today is a different person.
All right. All right.
Look at yourself.
Thanks for calling. Yes.
Yeah, man.
You got on. Yes, that's the voice of our dear sister Mitchell. Good afternoon, ma'am. Bless your heart. Wonderful woman.
Arise, bright and morning star. Glory to word, glory to sound, glory to the power of the Most High, His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Selassie, Empress Menenai. I.
That's the voice of Queen Africa. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Gospel Train Live. And welcome to Lady J Ultimate Gospel Radio. I don't know if I'm with Brother Paul or Sister Erica no more. I don't know if they're still carrying my program, but they are still here every Tuesday. I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday. They are still on Gospel Train Live. I don't know if I am still on their program. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm not saying I'm not. I am not, and I'm saying I am. But we want to say good afternoon. See, my program different from a lot of people. And they might say I'm not holy enough. The listeners might say that I'm not that holy. Because, there's a radio station over here that I have them on every Sunday from 5 o'clock until 8. And they say they will keep me on, they will put me on when I come on. So when I come on now, they only put me on for 1 hour. Yeah, they put me on for 1 hour. Because I don't know, but I'm not going to be a phony. I don't know the circumstance. I'm not big. I am not begging to go on nobody radio. So the 1 hour that they gave me at 3 o'clock come, they cut it off. Poof, 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 poof. I don't know why. But I can't stand phonyism. You understand? I stand for the truth. Truth, truth, truth. You understand? So big up Master Griffith. She just celebrate her birthday over there. Big up and big up. Wonderful woman. Still standing, still doing good work. And big up Mama Swaby and Mama Swaby daughters. Big up on yourself. Hope all is well. Lady Love, big up yourself, girl. So I went outside a little while and see snow flurries. Snow was flurries outside. And something that bothered me a lot. The Republican, they try to ambush the Democrat Party. Mr. Biden has, I don't see nothing. He might be slow in his speech, but the man is working. They try to put down Mr. Biden, they try to put down Miss Harris, and all those things. The people are doing their best. When Trump was in power, and every month he fires one of his workers, they still embracing Trump, you know. They still embrace Trump. And they might carry Trump for 2024. I think it's in the making. So, ladies and gentlemen, open up on your eyes. It's not going to be the same. Open up the eyes. All right? On Mr. Como, on might against Mr. Como, but it's very hard. Mr. Como say not do what him do. On might say different. I can't say he didn't do it. I can't say he do. But those people that was around him, they was up to what he was doing. They never complained. They never get out of it. He say he never touch a breast. He say I never touch those women's breasts. Because it's illegal. But I don't know. I don't know. Mr. Trump get away with the assault of women. He get away with it. While other people get punishment for it. I think Democrat is very soft. I think Democrat fight against one another. They don't embrace one another. So something have to be done. Something have to be done. Our program today is kind of different. Yeah, our program is kind of different today. We want to make it be a reality program. How go on, Jeff? Where you are? No, you can't. I have to go use it. Yesterday, we were supposed to go yesterday, whole day, and you don't come. You not even call me. Listen to this. This is very interesting. Listen to this. This is very interesting. Who were the black fearer
David Adams.
of Kosh?
This is the Sudan.
Kosh.
I'm about 2.5 days sailing south of the Egyptian border into what they call the Hidden Quarter. It's the least travelled part of the Great River Nile. From here to Khartoum, Sudan's desert capital, there's 1,000 miles of temples, tombs and fortresses of a culture that once ruled all Egypt herself. As the crow flies, my journey's only 330 miles. But by river, round the great S-bend of the Nile, it's triple that distance, nearer 1,600 kilometres. But first, a little history. Nearly 3,000 years ago, in the 8th century BC, Shabaka, king of Nubia, conquered Egypt. His dynasty was to rule the Egyptian empire for over a century, the 25th Nubian dynasty. And Shabaka was black. He and his descendants built temples and pyramids and an empire that stretched from Khartoum to Alexandria. It was a civilization that was to span 5,000 years. So to go back to the roots of this ancient African empire, I'm sailing up the Nile in the most traditional of ways. My crew is Nubian, direct descendants of those who fought for the Black Pharaohs. And I'm sailing on a felucca, a boat little changed in 3,000 years, ideally suited to what's a very user-friendly river. And what makes the Nile really navigable is that the flow goes one way towards Egypt and Alexandria, and the north wind goes the other towards Khartoum. So boats like this can navigate up and down the Nile at will. The Nile is Sudan's lifeline. 60% of its waters rise in the Ethiopian highlands and flood down the Blue Nile to bring nourishment to its fertile banks. But it's a very thin lifeline, a green strip extending only as far as the Nile waters can reach. Barely a mile from its banks are the scorching sands of the Nubian desert. Today, the Nubians of Sudan live in mud villages much as they've done for centuries. And I never knew mud could be made so colourful. These walls have become a canvas on which to paint vivid, geometric patterns. Again, I'm going back in time. These villages' ancestors would have once lived under the rule of the Black Pharaohs. Provided they paid their tribute and worshipped the ancient god Amun-Ra, the pharaohs would have been benevolent. If they'd defaulted, they would have incurred the pharaoh's wrath. Today, the villages are Islamic, and in true Islamic style, they extend a welcome to all strangers. They really are incredible, these buildings. You'd think you were in Mexico with all the painted adobe houses there, instead of right in the middle of the Sudan. School starts early in the Sudan, at 7 a.m. And as Westerners seldom pass this way, the school teacher grabs his opportunity. He wants me to tell his students about my home country, Australia.
أشهر المدن في أستراليا مجاهد Sydney. Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah,
Ah,
Sydney.
yeah, that's where I come from, Sydney.
قالوا وثاني
Do they know this one?
Yes.
This is the, okay, it's got big ears, okay, okay, like that, and a very big tail.
Yes.
They know this one? What's this one?
Kangaroo. Yeah.
Kangaroo.
Yeah, matches.
You know this one?
Boxes. Yeah.
Yeah? Kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
Like this. I wonder what would happen if I asked Western children to name an animal in the Sudan. I'd be even more amazed if they knew where it was.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
It was very good. But I must be on my way. Goodbye. Thank you. Ciao. It all seems so calm and peaceful here. But just across the river is an old fort. It stands as a stark reminder of rival imperial ambitions that have so often disrupted the peace of this great river. And here's another monument, a temple built by an Egyptian warrior, Amenhotep III, great-great-grandfather of Tutankhamun. It was built 4,000 years ago, and it predates King Solomon, Babylon, and the temples of classical Greece. it was from temples like these that the black pharaohs drew their inspiration and founded their ancient African civilization. Walking amongst these columns and fallen masonry, you can't help but admire the workmanship. They're thousands of years old, yet it seems they were carved yesterday. And where are the tourists? If this were a temple in Egypt, it would be crawling with them. But I seem to have it all to myself. In Amenhotep's day, this was an imperial outpost marking what was to him the ends of the earth. Behind was Egypt, the known world. Beyond was Black Africa and the Nubian province of Kush. And I've also reached a natural barrier, the Third Cataract. One of a series of impassable rapids that hinder all Nile travellers. My felucca can go no further.
Tom!
And as if to rub in the point, on the cliff high above the cataract, there is an old inscription warning of danger ahead. This was the original border between ancient Egypt and the Nubian province of Kush. Tomorrow, I join the trail of another warrior whose imperial ambition ran headlong into that of another would-be African pharaoh. I'm about to enter the land of Kush.
If the government did one thing right this year, they allowed seniors to get this $2,800.
The following day, sunrise is obliterated by a desert storm. Minute grains of sand and dust get in your eyes and up your nostrils. Sandstorms like this are commonplace in the Sudan and most of North Africa, and they don't make a photographer's life any easier. I'm on the Nile on my way to Dongola, where I hope to catch an old steam ferry. In it, I hope to travel to Karima, round the great S-bend of the Nile. I'm on another felucca, dwarfed by this mighty river. And it was past this very spot, nearly 3,000 years ago, that the Black Pharaohs launched their invasion north. Now wind the clock forward to just over a century ago, and we find that history repeats itself. In 1896, a conquering army also sailed past this very spot, but this one was heading south. In the 1800s, a man was born near here who believed he was sent by God. He was a sort of Islamic messiah known as the Mahdi. He too had visions of a black African empire, this time an Islamic one. Today, his followers still whip themselves into a frenzy in his memory. They're called dervishes. "120 years ago, a dervish army launched a holy war to end British colonial rule. They killed the British commander, General Gordon, at Khartoum. It was 10 years before his death would be avenged. And when vengeance came, it came in the form of this man, Lord Kitchener, later to become one of Britain's most outstanding generals. Kitchener was determined to destroy the Dervish army. And to get at them, he used the River Nile. The next morning, we arrive in Dongola. La Dongola. Ah, Dongola. Fantastic. And it was near Dongola in 1896 that Kitchener's army first came under fire from the Dervish forces. He quickly defeated them with superior firepower. Are these the ferry boats? Do they stand for Karima?
لا لا شام.
It's finished.
لا 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 خسران أيوة.
Well, there's my Nile ferry. Thanks to irrigation and droughts upstream, the river level is low. The result is that these once magnificent old boats have been left to rust in the mud. So my plan to travel under steam, like Lord Kitchener, won't work. It's a riverboat graveyard. This is all that's left of a riverboat culture that grew up along the Nile. It was based on British imperial power, but it was romantic just the same. Imagine what it would have been like living on these riverboats for days on end. Really like Agatha Christie in Death on the Nile. First-class passengers would have been reclining in these lovely little cabins, drinking their gin and tonics, while the Sudanese all rode down below. It's still about 500 miles down to Khartoum, and it would have been quite a long trip, but in a boat like this, in those days, would have been wonderfully luxurious. The Battle of Dongola was Kitchener's first success. Dongola is famous for its markets, stacked with produce from the Nile. Today, as in 1896, there's enough food to feed an army. And it's in these markets that I meet Ramadan. Ramadan is also bound for Karima. He tells me there's only one way to get there quickly, but it means abandoning the river and going by bus. So how long does the bus take to get to Karima?
2 days.
Yeah?
Yeah, they take 2 days and desert and many sand and yeah. But Karima is very beautiful also.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And Jebel Barkar.
Jebel Barkar, and there is a pool also.
But yeah, and you were stopping in Karima?
Yeah, we're stopping in Karima. Yeah.
That's the good news. The bad news is that the bus doesn't leave until the day after tomorrow. So it's 2 days waiting.
Yeah, 2 days waiting.
There's not many buses in this country.
Yeah, you must wait until that. Go take the tea. Hey, say shukran.
Shukran. The Sudanese are a nation of tea drinkers. So we discussed travel plans over a glass of sweet, minted tea. Is there much to see around Dongola?
No.
Dongola is also famous for its cooking. Perhaps I can relax and enjoy some Sudanese cuisine. But Ramadan suggests another form of cooking. You may think that being buried 30 kilometres out in the desert is some sort of Sudanese torture. Actually, it's something that a lot of people travel a long way to do, because this sand has incredible properties, and anybody with rheumatism who gets buried here for an hour or two walks away with almost no pain. Well, for me, because I don't have rheumatism, this is actually like a hot sauna. Well, probably in an hour or two I'll just be nicely baked. But it actually is very pleasant, I think. Ramadan, could you grab my hat? I'm going to fry out here. Thanks, mate. Now, how long do I have to stay out here?
What do you want? 2 hours, 3 hours? No problem.
I think I'll be cooked like a turkey. It reminds me of an ancient funereal custom of the Black Pharaohs. When a pharaoh died, he expected all his wives, courtiers, guards and palace staff to be buried with him, alive. It's getting hot, very hot. Soon I'll be mummified like a pharaoh. They put a cover over me as the sun rises higher and higher in the desert sky. And by now, I seem to have acquired quite an audience. But I can't let them watch me cook forever. We must get back to Dongola. We've got a bus to catch. It's a 200-mile journey, which means a 12-day camel ride with a caravan. I'm very glad we've got a place on this bus.
The bus is full. Let's go on top.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, let's go there.
Yeah.
There's no room inside, which means we have to sit up on the roof. Not to worry. Up here, it's a dress circle view.
Thank you. Very good.
African desert buses are very colourful, and I don't mean just their design. And you've got to love that horn.
You have something for the wind? No, I have one I can give you. Yeah, because there is too much wind. You know how can you do it? Yeah, put it on.
To keep the dust out of my mouth and the sun off my head, Ramadan insists I wear an emma, a form of Sudanese turban.
That's great.
As we hurtle deeper into the desert, my mind goes back to Kitchener's army just over a century ago.
After 20, 30 years of independence, or maybe more, Barbados has finally become a republic. They don't. England don't have anything to do with Barbados anymore. They're going to get rid of the governor, and they're going to appoint their own people. So big up to Barbados, big them up, big them up, big them. Now depend on England anymore. You understand? Jamaica got independence in 1962, and they from England, and they still have a representative from the Queen still living high class in Jamaica, which is the governor. And why would they have a governor when they have independence? When are they going to stand on their own butt? So we can lift our hat to Barbados. Barbados finally became republic. But when P.J. Patterson was in Prime Minister, they want us to turn Jamaica into a republic. But for whatever reason, it never happened. And we are still there like a scapegoat, accept everything they gave us, and talk about everything that they tell us to talk about, so we don't have anything on our own. So big up to Barbados. If you're from Barbados, big up yourself. All right? So good afternoon again, and welcome. This is Fresh FM. We are just dealing with little things differently today. It might not be for your listening ears. You might not like what you hear. You might say that's a foolishness. But ladies, history is a very tough subject in school. And much people, when you was going to school, you fail off of history. History and math. I don't think that was one of the two boring subjects in school. But today, we live to see history speak for itself, and math have its, we rely on math. Because if you don't understand your addition, your subtraction, and other stuff, and everything, you're in a great trouble. All right? So, big up to Fresh FM 102.1.
has always been
We're going to hear from Harry Tubman
even with his
right now.
Parkinson's. But then he
They call her
started
the
seeing things that
underworld
weren't there.
slave lady.
Slave. A person who is the legal property of another and is forced to obey them. This is the dictionary definition describing the condition of hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children brought from overseas against their will to be sold, bought, auctioned, and forced to labor without pay. Considered mere commodities, many slave owners did not hesitate to rip families apart if they felt the need warranted it. Husbands were taken from their wives, mothers from their children, and the agony of these enslaved people grew. In the midst of this suffering and deprivation, some slaves began to look for a way out, their God-given dignity aching for the right to be free. And like the enslaved children of Israel, they prayed for a deliverer, someone who could lead them to the promised land. And God heard. The children of Israel got Moses, and the slaves of the southern United States, God sent a woman.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
Harriet Tubman was born Araminta Ross, the fifth of 9 children, to a slave couple, property of Anthony Thompson in Dorchester County on the eastern shore of Maryland.
The exact date of her birth is unknown. Some consider it to be 1820 or 1821, but Araminta, or Harriet as she was eventually called, was born a slave. So the date of her birth was of little importance to her owners, and no records were kept.
It was the case that we were seen as animals, not people. And you buy horses, you buy mules, you buy tractors, you buy things to do your farm work, to do laboring, to lift heavy weights, to cook food, to plow fields, to pick cotton, to pick tobacco. Well, black people were seen as the tools. In the 1800s, my mother, who looked like an Italian, would have been taken out of here immediately and sold, taken to New Orleans and sold to a house of prostitution. My dad, since he was so smart, would have been sold to somebody in New Orleans to be a bookkeeper in a cotton brokerage because Dad was good with numbers. Black people did a variety of things based on their skills, and their skills then impacted the value that allowed them to be sold away.
Harriet's mother was to be set free upon the death of her master, but she was never informed. So the slave family was taken over by a Mr. Brodess, who owned a tobacco plantation.
The question arises, how did Harriet Tubman and her parents live in Maryland? We're now inside the James Webb cabin, And based on the description in her biographies, this cabin is almost exactly like the cabin that she lived in with her parents. It's built of logs. It has 2 doors, a fireplace, and a single window.
While her parents worked, little Harriet was made to care for her younger siblings, as well as the children of other slaves. Life was hard and unpredictable.
I had 2 sisters carried away in a chain gang. One of them left 2 children. We were always uneasy.
Harriet never forgot her sisters' cries as they were being taken away, never to be heard from again. It wasn't long before her turn came. When Harriet was 5 years old, she was suddenly sent away. Harriet was hired out to help a man set muskrat traps in the icy river, but she got so sick as a result that he sent her back. Useless, he complained. She gets sick too often. No sooner was she nursed back to health than she was hired out again. Harriet's job was to clean house and make sure her mistress's baby did not cry. When the baby did, Harriet was whipped. On one occasion, as she waited on her mistress, Harriet caught sight of a temptation, a bowl of sugar.
I never had anything good, no sweet, no sugar, and that sugar right by me did look so nice. And my mistress's back was turned to me while she was fighting with her husband. So I just put my fingers in the bowl to take one lump, you see. And maybe she heard me, for she turned and saw me, and the next minute she had Rawhide down.
Unable to endure the punishment, Harriet ran away and hid in a pig pen, but after 5 days she was so hungry that she had little choice but to come back.
I had nowhere else to go, even though I knew what was coming.
The cruel whipping she endured during that time resulted in physical scars that she bore her entire life. So she was sent back to her master. Unable to hire her out again, she was put to work in the fields. It was a hard life for one so young. Harriet was taught that regardless of her circumstances, there was a Savior that had died for her. He was alive and was as near to her as prayer. Harriet believed that and would talk to God as naturally as she would her own parents. As she got older, her faith also grew.
Christianity was a major force in the lives of the enslaved Africans. It was believed by the enslavers that Christianity made the Africans more docile, but for the enslaved, Christianity was for them a source of empowerment, a source of comfort, a source of strength, revolutionary hope that would allow them to endure the long night of slavery and oppression.
Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a friend. Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a friend.
They would have these clandestine meetings after the slave masters went to sleep, after the workday was over. They would often meet in fields for these worship services. So there was the official church, which was presided over by the enslavers, or sometimes they would provide the enslaved Africans with a preacher. But then there were these secret services that happened in the field at night. And one scholar, Albert Rabbitoe, in a book that he wrote entitled Slave Religion, he uses the language of the invisible institution to talk about the church of the enslaved Africans, as an institution that was invisible to the slave masters.
The Lord is my
And so they could talk to Christ. They could speak to him. They could tell. In fact, some of the spirituals, I must tell Jesus all of my troubles. This idea of being able to have access to God through prayer at any time when you're in trouble, when you're weary, when you're weak, that when you experience joy, you could offer prayer of thanksgiving. So prayer was a way of being in the world. It was not just an event. It was something that was always possible, something that was very close because God was near.
Americans over 65 can get a large benefit this month, but only if they claim it. If you were born before 1957.
Every so often, news trickled in about an escaped slave. Sometimes they were caught and it went real bad for them. But other times, it was rumored that a slave made it to the North, to freedom.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. Oh, and before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord, and go home to my Lord and be free.
It was around 1834 or 35, when Harriet was about 13 years old, that something happened that would affect her for the rest of her life. As they gathered to shuck corn, one of the slaves made a run for it. Once the guards spotted him, they ordered Harriet
Good afternoon, sir.
to help
Good afternoon, family.
running for his...
Yeah, what you call now? We are going history.
May I ask if you are on to Senate? Me just ask you one question.
Today is History Month, where we have to educate our people. I know you calling me to upset me to stop my program.
I am just asking a question, sir. If you are a teacher and you do history, you're supposed to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead. What question you asking me now?
Are you running for the Senate?
What?
Are you running for the Senate?
No.
Okay.
I'm
because you see, I'm going up your history and I know all of the history or something. I wonder if you are running for the Senate, sir.
Well, since you're on the line, tell us what's going on. You know Marcus Garvey?
I don't go down no history with you for man, I don't go in there with you. Marcus Garvey and Nanny and then the October Jamaica celebrate Heroes Weekend. Then the days they pass. You don't want to go in there. I'm not going there with you, sir.
We are educating our people today who don't know anything.
People don't want to, you don't know yet. I just boring like when you're at school.
Oh, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's boring. But you want to hear when the saints go marching in.
No,
You want to hear wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. How was your holiday?
My holiday was good. So you drop. My
what happened? You called to disturb my program today?
The program will disturb. When this is show, I will talk to you. When you are done here, you couldn't answer and you say, you're hung up. You ain't done. The better of my sister Michelle, and the sister Michelle were here. And sister Michelle come with her foreign voice. You couldn't answer her too tough neither.
Oh.
See that?
Man,
sitting there.
What?
Tell you how you did. How man to tell you that? How much you do to that? How much you do to that, you know?
So we need a coffin, not a casket, a coffin.
A woman to tell you that. How come the man tell you that? In out of that, may I expect you to say, you shall say, no, this is not your part. I know your part, this.
A Michelle part.
Yeah, how you know that? How you know that?
Well, maybe him and Sister Michelle have a conversation over me.
My Sister Michelle have no conversation. You call Sister Michelle. When you not call Sister Grant, you call sitting there. Well, you say, I did that call me so. I did that call me so. Say, no, sir.
Great thing. So what is going on? You went to church Sunday?
No.
Why?
No.
Oh. Have you ever heard about this great lady, Harriet Tubman?
No. She listen to now?
Yes, she did a great job on what she go through. She's the underworld. She's the one who teach the slave how to read and write. Underground world, we call it real world or something like that. She's the one who teach the slave them how to.
But you listen it. When you're in your bedroom, you listen it and you go through it and
we can't do that. We have to educate the people. They will.
But they don't listen.
What they want to do? Close their eye?
They must sleep.
So I dumb, then dumb. They
not tell them dumb. They must sleep. They don't listen this.
So they will
don't pass through slavery already.
You see, when I tell you, thank you, Mama Swaby. You just open up the door. Thank you. You said what others is saying. They already they are Christian, or they not believe in them. You
know, Sister Grand not come out.
What about Sister Grand? Sister Grand dead. Sister Grand locked up years ago, never to return. Sister Grand never come out.
When me go and I go really rude. Even my daughter say, Tan, your pastor will see Senate.
As what she said? You know, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying the little teaching. I'm enjoying it. I know about it, but I expect more people. But I know some black people don't involve in when it comes to history. Like I said before, when you get history,
but you always listen history. You always listen history.
Anytime you in school and they say history time, on a bow on the head on the desk. Can't bother with that, yeah. Can't bother with that. That too complicated. That too boring. So it go.
All right, sir.
So
I was going to teach you history.
So how are you today?
We just want to ask you a question. Mr. Gwamba, what teacher is trying to one question I was asking you about?
So what did you do for Thanksgiving?
Not do anything.
I talked to you after Thanksgiving, right? I was here Friday, right? Huh?
Yes, you were Friday. How are you on there Friday?
Huh?
No, you wasn't there Friday. You was there Friday?
Yeah,
no.
Yes. I was here Saturday.
Friday?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you wasn't here Thursday? I wasn't there. No, you wasn't there Thursday.
No, I was here on Thursday. You forgot?
You was there what? Wednesday?
You bring around water, Mama Swaby.
You went on there one day. You was there Wednesday.
I was here Wednesday. I was here Thursday.
Thursday. Which day today? Friday?
Friday?
You wasn't there one day.
One of them days there.
Friday.
Friday, right?
Friday.
Friday.
Talk to you.
Yeah?
Talk to your Thanksgiving there.
Mama,
no, it's Saturday.
You have any orange tree in your yard?
No, they didn't cut it down.
Why you cut it down?
I know me, it's sick.
The city?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I know what, I'm down people orange.
Why they do that?
Remember one time, the disease they go around and them cut it down. And then I cut down to them farm. I cut them branch and pay them for it.
I was reading this today, why orange juice is so expensive. And orange, you know, say orange go through a lot of stuff, a lot. So they were saying,
orange.
What they were saying that orange must go in tropical like Florida or California. And they said if you want to get your own cheap orange juice is to raise your own orange. So I'm surprised they go around and cut down your orange.
They want disease and say that pass through and a hit in that breed and then they cut it down and purify. But people you could plan back now. People can plan back. Me never plan back. We did have one silver orange tree. Every Thanksgiving time you see the people then come.
Oh,
I pick it.
They do what? What they do?
Thanksgiving time when they can't catch it right in over the road and they can't catch it pick you see them and knock off your door. Mostly Asian them. I then use up in Turkey and sickness.
What the silver orange?
Yes, I'm here. And see how it come and beg it.
Oh, so now the silver orange over there.
Me have a silver orange. Make lemonade.
So I'm gonna make lemonade. So the real orange they couldn't spray the tree.
No. But people plant that, you know. Some people not bother with it and cut it down. Maybe that it our grapefruit tree.
Because they were saying it take for you to be an orange farmer, it take a lot. Is that a simple thing? How the orange you ever see an orange farm in Florida?
Yeah.
They don't grow tall, right? They grow
short.
And they bear a lot.
Yeah.
You ever drive at night and pick off any and put that truck?
No drive at night because I pick not in the night because I don't want to go pick it. But if here I have me, if I want to taste it, I will drive over there and I will go over there and pick one. I walk to the man and he sell you cheap. And when you come out with the bag, you pick straight until you reach back to your vehicle.
Wow. Like a crocus bag?
Any bag you want put, if I for you one me a borrow.
Wow. Well, hello? Yeah?
What is the date that you're putting on this letter?
Any day. Now, tomorrow, any day.
Alright.
Yeah, man, sweetie. So, the orange that you not pick, they have seed in them?
Yes, they have seed in them. But then they don't have any except on seed, man, and I don't know how that grow.
Well, that's the one they sell in supermarket here, the seedless.
They have seed and seedless?
Seed, mostly seedless they have.
See, we like in Milan?
Yes. But you wouldn't take a man if you don't have no seed, right?
Are you so rich now?
So why would you?
You have any?
Why would you?
You have any seed?
Yes, I have two.
Even the man said that about you this morning?
Don't worry about that fool. That fool, he done from the day in band. So they said that it take a long time people raise orange to gain anything because there's a lot of thing orange have to go through before we get it on our table.
Okay.
And you know a lot of the orange juice that they're selling now, you know, they're not 100% orange juice, you know.
Okay.
No, they're not. The best one they say right now is Florida orange juice.
Okay.
Because that's the one that came straight from Florida. Tropicana come from Brazil.
Okay.
And the other
You don't drink orange juice.
You don't drink it?
No, but the orange, you can't drink it, it burn your stomach.
Oh, but you suck the orange, you suck the juice out of the orange though. You suck it out?
The seed.
You suck the seed? Huh? That's baby. That's baby. Alright, go on.
I'm calling me so I'm getting over. I have to go seed and orange and seed and this particular. So, stay no. Right?
You said.
No. About seed, about me I take a man without the seed. I don't even question it. We never know no man without no seed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why would you want to buy grape, melon, orange without seed?
No, you get. You get everything.
I know where you get, you know.
Well, they say melon without with seed now. We always see them where we are in the summer.
In Florida too, you don't see the one with the seed.
I'm waiting at summer, I see them with enough.
Oh, and you know they have the golden melon now. You know, when you cut it, it have a yellowish color. You ever see that one there?
Melon in them?
Yes. It have a yellowish color. It's not red.
Okay, let me see that. Now we know what they have. What is calling it for there? Cantaloupe and is it there? No, damn yellow melon. If you plant a seed and melon, you can look one them. You see, look a stripe on them. If you get a seed and plant, could time of beer.
Okay.
Could you tell me beer? One upon the fence too, and beer.
I thought the big melon them, you know, that the little one them, you know.
Yeah, me know, but I'm saying to you, someday you get to see that big one them and you plant it, and you see the beer and be some little one, you know.
Oh.
You know, be a big giant one. You just be some little one, you know, green one with the stripe then.
Yes, yes.
A beer with seed.
Well, you all in Florida, you are lucky, you can plant anything you don't want.
I know the Florida one, so yeah, but other states for me to plant.
Yeah, but we don't know about people from other states, we know about people from Florida.
I'm not lucky, I just tell the truth. I'm not looking at that.
Well, it's good because you can plant your fruit and your vegetable and you get fresh stuff out of your yard. In New York, we only have 3 months for that.
3 months for tomato and cantaloupe.
Yes. And some people have squash.
And pepper.
Yes. So you have to plant. As spring come, you have to plant them to get them ready for the summer.
We plant cane too.
On the plant, we don't plant cane over here. Sister Mitchell plant cane at Brooklyn.
Yeah. And it be before winter come down.
Yes, big and long. You know the ribbon one them?
Yes, big and long.
Yeah, them they should plant. Big and long.
This your friend I celebrate on YouTube.
Who?
That's your friend.
Who?
Cheryl was green.
Oh man, you know ever since she get her green card.
I citizen, she said no.
I citizen, ever since she get married, like she a turn fool.
She married?
Yes.
She have her citizen, and she wore a card and her flag.
But we don't see where all that for. We don't see her and her dressing different from how she used to
her dressing half full.
Yes, and she still has, I don't know. Me ask her over and we say, what's going on in your head? You see, it's very, black people can't stand success, you know.
Alright, we not bother with me because
no, but why she can't humble herself? Why if she represent Jesus, why she can't continue to do? Why she have to go overboard? Half address half away, wear tight pants. Look at me butt, me not have no panty and all that kind of stuff. What's all that?
Okay.
What's all that for? He like she give up the gospel world now, you know.
Alright.
So we can't stand success then.
When I arrive, we're done.
Oh God, it is so sad, Mama Swaby. Very sad. She's my good friend, but I talk to her about it, you know. And she said, why me and knock her? I said, Cheryl, hack the way as a decent person. Why you have to address them way there? Eh? It don't look good. It don't look good. Because you get your citizen now, you have to tell the whole world and you didn't have no green card. Now you get citizen. And you know who I brag to? George from Connecticut. Since you getting green card, the whole world have to know.
Alright.
No, man.
Do you remember about you?
Me don't see why them have to go on like that. I don't see why. Because if you get citizen, you become they can't take it away from you anytime. If you do something the government don't like, they can't take it away from you. You're a naturalized citizen. They can't take that away from you, you know. You know that, right?
Yes, I'm here.
They can't take it away. If you do something bad the government don't like, they can take away. They can revoke your citizenship. They can revoke your green card. So I'm not say what's the big excitement of I'm a citizen, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. No, sir. You don't know why. But I became citizen in 1998. And me not go and tell people say me a citizen of America. I don't do that. If me even going to Jamaica, my Jamaican passport me use.
Which song the name I'm a citizen? When I have one song.
Eh?
One song when they sing about I'm a citizen of God. Also.
Yeah, I'm a citizen of God. Citizen of heaven. Patrick Reed singing. Okay. Yeah. But me don't see the big excitement, Mama Sweetie. Me don't see it costs you for dress different, costs you for attack different. What is all this about? We don't understand. You understand, you know?
I said everybody black people, women.
We can't stand success.
No.
Anytime we get a good success, we go down we brain and turn we in a fool.
Come on.
I don't know, sir. I don't know. But to God.
Let me show you who is on tall. What that?
What? Oh, Mama, what she say?
It's on the board.
What big and tall?
No. We're not talking about her.
Big and the cane? The ribbon cane them?
You say tall, you know. You say
What?
You're not talking about her, man.
No, you say she plant cane, I know me.
Me?
You said
me don't know not about the weather. Me don't know. Because you those 4 different cycles. Afterwards, me don't know nothing. I know.
Then hold on, and you did say Sister Michelle must plant cane, ribbon cane.
I you say that. I you say Sister Michelle plant some pretty ribbon cane, so you must get it. You can't talk with me now get. You say that.
So you saw story can spread for the lie.
You say she plant. You must know because you get it.
All right. All the children them.
If you have to the coastline, yeah,
if what?
If you were going to run.
It seems to me like when it comes to history, a lot of people get boring when they can't bother with it.
If you are going to run, because they have to study your history.
Oh, okay. It is good to know your history. You see the girl at the restaurant, how she answered bright. She really surprised me.
Surprised if you don't know Marcus Garvey and Nanny are sitting. No, when mother at school, no number follow it up like you. But it have to take out something out of your brain to contain something now.
But you don't know where Marcus Garvey come from.
No, where she planning? Like in Jamaica.
Oh, shit.
I come from Jamaica, land him there.
You don't come from Jamaica?
I land him there.
How they come from?
Yeah. I see it. I she planning parents and him band and them are fighting. So I don't know about that history. I mean, the nanny then say nanny take me back to take shot. I don't know much about history. Michael Malian on history. And sit there. Them they don't know history. Them go them do.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for making that straight. I say people understand. All they say you don't know nothing.
You know we're going.
All right.
The one go finish teach. Me so then drop.
Eh?
And me so go finish teach.
Oh well, the teaching over now. We have got to play some song now. We have to play a Terry and Douglas song now.
Get your phone call him too.
Eh?
I said if I tell you. Yeah, get your phone call him too.
Which phone call?
From Brother Live now.
No, I'm not getting no call. Yeah, they call me. Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
So we talk more.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Bye.
Good afternoon. Let me play a song here. Play one song. If we can't find this. Only one. Good afternoon.
No play the more the teaching. Play like a song. I'm tired of teaching you now. And I was there today. He was there done.
It done for you?
Yeah, done right now. He was there for us. The first couple hours of he was there.
Alright. Let me ask you,
what?
Bishop Riley, they leave already?
Leave from where?
They gone back home?
Leave from where, Brother Victor?
They weren't here?
No.
That's why you think...
You see your far?
No, because...
No, the man never there.
So I wouldn't picture that was.
Brother Victor, which picture are you talking about?
The one that you was saying, welcome, greetings and stuff.
You see me as a welcome greeting?
Yeah, you was in between the two of them.
I had a blue jacket?
Yes.
Oh, that was years ago.
Oh, years ago.
I'm married better than nice clean self.
I'm married.
Your mama must have done in her grave because you hear them bright and nosy.
Who?
Now see you hear them quick.
No, because I saw it, so I didn't know it was 4 years ago.
No, a couple years ago that man, look how long that.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time that.
Because I know the other man, he got married and he's a bishop too?
No, Brother Victor.
Oh.
I'm not a bishop.
He's just a minister.
To the max.
Yeah, Brother Victor, you keep up with the times, you know.
Yeah, man.
You keep up with the times, man. You know everything will go on.
I used to correspond with that guy, you know.
I know.
Yeah, I used to correspond. He was supposed to send.
I know you used to correspond.
He was supposed to send me a CD, but I didn't get it.
No, I don't know, so I can't say along.
Yeah, we don't. Anyway, I'll play a Terry and Douglas for you. All right?
Yeah. I know why there's something.
Well, Anne-Marie said she loved the history.
No, if you play the history, never lock out my computer and find some music to uplift me.
Where's your mother?
My mother is home.
Does she know I hear it? Hey. All right, we're going to play a Terry and...
please and thanks.
And then we're going to play your special song after that.
I want my special again.
All right, you will hear it when you hear it.
Oh, make sure. All right, bye.
Aunt Marie, good afternoon.
For years I've traveled the road all wrong. My heart, oh, had lost its joy and song. Then grace placed me right where I belong.
What mercy.
Rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life. I could have fallen, my soul cast away, but mercy rewrote my life. My mistakes God turned into miracles. All my tears He turned into joy. My past was forgiven. My new name, oh, was written when mercy rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life. I could have fallen, my soul cast away, but mercy rewrote my life. Yeah, mercy rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life. I could have fallen, my soul cast away, but mercy rewrote my life. Mercy rewrote my life.
Yeah, that was the voice of Miss Terry Douglas. But first and foremost, let me thank Bishop Baker and the Love Gospel Station for this Sunday, last Sunday, 28th, Gospel Hall of Fame for the award that I hear that I got. I heard that I got an award for Gospel Train Live. And I haven't seen it yet, but Mr. Richard picked it up for me. And I want to thank the family of Grace Assembly Deliverance Temple for acknowledge Gospel Train and Fresh FM for the award. It's a blessing. So when brother Richard, Minister Richard, won't be here until Sunday. So Sunday I will receive it and I will show it to you. Yes, very good, very nice. Because you know what happened? I can't get to go. I cannot go because if I go and sit too long, my foot start to hurt. So I couldn't go. So Brother Richard accepted for me. I want to thank Bishop Baker. Thank you very much for every acknowledging my thing. It was a blessing. So let me play a song for the only one, Sister Mitchell. Yes.
These walls keep a secret that only we know. But how long can they keep it? 'Cause when two lovers will lose control, we're two shadows chasing rainbows behind closed windows, behind closed doors. If walls could talk, oh, they would say I want you more. They would say, hey, never felt like this before, and that you will always be the one for me. Two people making memories, just too good to tell. And these arms are never empty when we're lying where we fell. We're painting pictures, making magic, taking chances, making love. If walls had eyes, they would see the love inside. They would see me in your arms in ecstasy. And with every move they know I love you so. I love you so. When I'm feeling weak, you give me wings. When the fire has no heat, you light it up again. When I hear no violins, you play my every string. So stop the press, hold the news. The secret's safe between me and you. Walls, can you keep a secret? If walls could talk, oh, they would say I want you more. They would say, hey, never felt like this before, and that you would always be the one for me. If the walls had eyes, they would see the love inside. They would see me in your arms in ecstasy. And with every move they know I love you so. I love you so. Oh, I love you so, baby.
That's the voice of Celia Dion. Sorry we can't play much of those because if we play them, we're going to get cut off of Facebook. Because, Facebook tell you, you can't play a certain song and they will cut you off because I was cut off here a long time. But in fact, I think for 90 days I was cut off from YouTube. And it was very heartbroken. I want to say good afternoon to Original Share. We don't know if you're on board, because I'm going to see you right today. Maybe the way they're upper county court kind of stubborn for you. So, really lagging today. But good afternoon to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play another song. So, let me play this one. It's 2:22 in the afternoon.
All my burdens, all my cares, I must tell Jesus all of my trials. I cannot bear these burdens alone. In my distress, He promised to help me. He ever loved and cared for His home. Tempted and tried, need a great Savior, one who can help my burdens to bear. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, be all my cares and sorrow will share. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus. Oh, I cannot bear these burdens alone. Burdens alone. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, oh, I must tell Jesus. Jesus can help me, yes, yes, Jesus alone. I must tell Jesus all of my troubles. He is a kind, compassionate friend. If I but ask Him, He will deliver. Make of my troubles quickly an end. Oh, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus. Oh, I cannot bear these burdens alone. Yes, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus. Jesus can help me, yeah. must tell Jesus. Oh, I cannot bear these burdens alone. Oh, I must tell Jesus. Oh, I must tell Jesus. Jesus can help me, yeah, yes. Jesus alone.
Get Optimum's best holiday deal ever for a limited time.
I must tell Jesus, the voice of Mr. Sanchez. Yes, so good afternoon again and welcome. Let's hear from Mr. Gorburn.
I'm falling, but I'm so glad he made me all over again. Thank you, Jesus. If your life is not worth living and your home is sinking fast, if your feet have crumbled under from the rubble and the blast, take a glimpse into your future. Step away from your past. He will give your life new meaning. He will rescue you at last. Have you been to the potter's house? His hand of mercy lifted me, a sinful life that I was living. Oh, I know it just wouldn't last. But I entered to the potter's house. I placed my vessel into his hands. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me over again. I know it took some doing, 'cause I was twisted, I was lean, my countenance was haggard, I was bitter, I was mean. But then he placed me on the spindle where my heart began to gleam. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me whole, he made me clean. Have you been to the potter's house? His hands of mercy lifted me, the sinful life that I was living. Oh, I know it just wouldn't last. Oh, I entered the potter's house, placed my vessel to his hands. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me over again. I know it took some doing, 'cause I was twisted, I was mean, my countenance was haggard, I was bitter, I was mean. But then he placed me on the spindle where my heart
been to the potter's house, his hand of mercy lifted me. A sinful life that I was living. Oh, I know it just wouldn't last. But I entered to the potter's house. I placed my vessel into his hands. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me over again. Have you been to the potter's house? His hand of mercy lifted me. A sinful life that I was living. Oh, I know it just wouldn't last. But I entered to the potter's house. I placed my vessel into his hands. On his wings of grace and mercy, Jesus made me over again. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me over again. On his wings of grace and mercy, he made me over again.
Day after day, I must face the world of strangers where I don't belong, and I'm not that strong. But it's nice to know that there is someone you can turn to who is always there, my love to share. When there's no getting over that rainbow, and my smallest dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world can give, but I won't last a day without you, baby. It's nice to know that there is someone you can turn to who is always there, my love to share. When there's no getting over that rainbow, and my smallest dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness the world can give, but I won't last a day without you. Day after day, I must face the world of strangers where I don't belong, and I'm not that strong. But it's nice to know that there is someone you can turn to who is always there. Hey, you say you love me, baby, and we should be together, but you just drive me crazy. Now that we are together, I can't wait till the morning comes. Oh, girl, I can't wait till the evening's done. Alright, you call me on the telephone. Oh, girl, and tell me you're coming home. Alright, and now that we're together, we'll change the stormy weather and cherish every moment that we should be together. It's so long we've been in love. Oh, girl, me and you left me here so all alone. Yeah, now you're here, I won't let you go. No, we'll forever let this feeling flow. Hey,
just like child's play too. I'll stick with you to the end. Please don't ever tell me no. The last thing I want is to go. If you feel it, girl, then you would know. If you want me, baby, please let it show. Baby, you and I can be more than friends, just like child's play too. I'll stick with you to the end. Baby, you and I can be more than friends, just like child's play too. I'll stick with you to the end. I don't care how long it takes. I just wanting you to give me the break.
You tell me you're in love with me, like you can take your pretty eyes away from me. It's not that I don't wanna stay, but every time you come too close, I move away. I wanna believe in everything that you say, 'cause it sounds so good. But if you really want me, take it slow. There's things about me you just have to know. Sometimes I run, sometimes I hide, sometimes I'm scared of you. But all I really want is to hold you tight, treat you right, be with you day and night. 'Cause baby, all I need is time. La la la.
To be true to one another, to be kind and gentle to each other,
DJ Easy run the show.
to do your best when it's asked of you, to do what you have to do when you're supposed to. You gotta feel it, you gotta feel the soul down inside of you. You gotta feel it. If you're to feel it, you got to be clean. You got to make it straight. You can't believe. To share the joys togetherness can bring. To go through soul, you just have to cling. Then you will feel it. Oh, then you will feel the soul down inside of you. You gotta feel it. Oh.
We promise not to fall in love. So while the words I love you was in my reach, not far apart, and that's the way I get to you. Who cares? I love you. You know the way I feel for you. Who cares? I love you. You know this love I'm feeling is true. Already, we promise not to get too close. Let in my arms you love broken all her promises. I'm glad 'cause here we are, just you and me and no one else. I love you when you are near or far. Ooh, I love you, yes. Love has played the game on me so long. I started to easy run. I never find anyone. Doubt is trying to convince me to give in, but you went away. Yeah, when one day the sun came shining through, the rain has stopped and the skies are blue. Yeah, and oh, what a revelation to see someone was saying I love you to me. I want in a million chance of a lifetime, girl, and life showed compassion and sent to me a stroke of luck called you. I want in a million, oh yes.
Saying goodbye is never an easy thing. You never say you stay forever. If you must go, darling, I'll set you free. I know in time, I know it will be. Say I won't try to stop you now from leaving, 'cause in my heart I know love will lead you back. Someday I just know that love will lead you back to my arms, where you belong. I'm sure as stars are shining, one day you will find me again, and it won't be long. One of these days our love will lead you back. One of these nights, when I hear your voice again, you gonna say how much you miss me. You walk out the door, someday you'll walk back in. I know in time, I know it will be.
Yeah, I want to say more blessing to Mr. Sanchez alongside Mr. Wayne Wonder. Just unfortunately, Facebook has blocked us from playing these songs. So in the meantime, we are not allowed to play certain song on Facebook. Once we're on Facebook, we have to limit the song that we are playing. If we even love the song, we can't play them that much, because once you start to play 1 and 2, then Facebook will just eliminate you from playing them. So that's what they did to us. But ladies and gentlemen, we want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Over here in New York, it is very cold and windy, and snowflake was coming down. So for those of you that into a warm climate, enjoy your warm weather, all right? And those of you that listening to us and still in the cold like myself, hope that your house or your apartment is very warm. I understand I'm saying, because the weather outside is not too pretty. But we give thanks. We're not going to complain about it because it could be worse. To be honest, it could be worse. Because in some years that passed and gone, we have a lot of snow on the ground. But thank God there's no snow on the ground right now. And just the weather is kind of cold. and we are so happy to be here. And want to apologize today to each of all my listeners if you know disappointed of what I was playing and stuff like that. I was enjoying it, but you seemed like and it's boring. All right, so I could understand that. I could really understand that. Once you're not into something like that, you want to hear preaching or you want to hear singing. But sometimes you have to go around the corner and pick up little history. So we're looking forward to see you again tomorrow, if God's willing. And tomorrow is the 1st of December. We don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow, but whatever, we give thanks that we're able to see another December, first day of December. And want to say goodbye to November. Wasn't bad at all. November wasn't that bad. It was very, lenient with us. Could have been worse. So I want to say November, happy-go-lucky. Was nice seeing you. We don't know when we'll see you again. So to each and everyone, have yourself a wonderful rest of the day. All right? God bless you and thank you all for coming. Thank you for listening and thank you for being where you are. All right? God love you and so do we. Coming up at 3 o'clock will be the one, Mr. Baker. I don't know if it's coming on,
I saw your brown eyes, your lips were pale, and I said hi. I knew right there you were the one. I was caught up in physical attraction, but to my satisfaction, baby, you're more than just a friend. And if I am in love again, I will be sure that the lady is a friend. And if I am in love so true, I will be sure that the lady's just like you. If I say that I could be your one and only, promise you'll never leave me lonely. I just wanna be the one you need. I just wanna be the one to serve you. Sometimes I feel as if I don't deserve you. I'll cherish every moment we share. And if I am in love again, I will be sure that the lady is mine.
Listen, let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Never can wait, we're only watching the skies. Hoping for the best, not expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop a bomb or not?
Representing for sunlight, total health. Whoa. If you want lion paw roots tonic, benefactor wood roots tonic, yeah. Sunside bitters, whoa. Slim possible. 4060 White Plains Road, Bronx, New York. 10466. Telephone 718-547-3760. Fax 347-945-0670. Email sunlifehealth06@aol.com. Website www.sunlifehealth.com. Healthy lifestyle. Sun Life Total Health. Whoa. Woman every day from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Keep it represent to the fullest.
Zion, say neighbor, be careful what you talk about me. Come on. Zion, be careful what you say about me. Listen, be careful what you say about me.
For what goes around, will surely comes around. Be careful what you say about me. Be careful what you talk about me. Oh, be careful how you talk about me. You better be careful. For what goes around will surely comes around. Be careful how you talk about me. Just a glass house, nothing throw stone.
Oh,